Hey everybody, it's Flake again. Nice to see you. Thank you so much for checking out this deck guide. Now, I know what you're saying. Another blue and yellow deck. God damn it, Flake. Figure it out. Well, those two colors are pretty damn cool. I like both those colors real nice. But we were messing around today, and the reason why I'm making another blue and yellow deck is because that's where most of my experience comes from, and a lot of my collection is in those two colors. But I figured today on stream, let's try something different. Let's go and bust out the snakes and the enchantments and really go ham with that kind of stuff. And we actually magically stumbled upon a really cool list that just constantly outvalues your opponent, as every turn you're just generating big snakes and sliding them over and buffing and buffing and buffing. And we went on a pretty cool tear with it. So here it is, and I so fondly have named this deck Snakes on a Lane. Okay, standard procedure, we're going to go through the list, and then I'm going to give you some of the basic strategy as well as, some of the thought processes from start to finish, and then we go from there. So here it is. This is it. This is Snakes on a Lane. Again, yellow and blue is your color scheme, and we start with the paths. We've got Rainbow's End. And Rainbow's End is just an enchantment helping path. Basically allows you to replace enchantments and recover some of that mana that you spent, as well as allows you to go ahead and draw off the top of your deck if you have enchantments. And we got plenty of enchantments here, so you're going to have a nice full hand to play with. Impel is our power, meaning we can move stuff around, and that is very important because on the turn that you generate a snake, which we'll get to, it's immobile. Basically because it just got summoned. So what we need to do is be able to move those around the turn that they're summoned. So this helps with that. All right, here we go. I've got 2 times Singing Stone because we are going to be playing enchantments. So getting extra value off those enchantments is big. Imagine this almost as a 1-cost Olama ring. So 2 times Brainstorm, drawing cards, always good. Earth Slide. Now Earth Slide is so-so. Yes, it gets a lot of value, but typically a lot of times it's a good catch-up card. I wouldn't suspect that Earth Slide is like the big part of this deck. It's just a nice helping piece. I've got Maelstrom. Maelstrom's nice to deal with aggro. Good to get out there as well. I've got Sea Haven. Sea Haven is so-so. This is one that is easily cuttable for another, be it... Oh, I don't know. You can throw in anything, a Cataclysm or something silly, but Sea Haven has been, underperforming, but it's still in the list for now. I've got Braggy Runesinger because he allows you to, cycle some cards, allows you to give Frenzy on the second turn that he's on the board, and 2 turns later allows you to draw up to 3 enchantments from your deck. So he has all kinds of, functionality in the deck. 3 Tail Rootworms because they're mostly always going to be sitting on enchantments, so getting extra value is huge. 2 times Thunderclap. Thunderclap is just clap them cheeks, baby. So good. 3 Giant Stairways. It's an enchantment deck. Giant Stairway is so good. It's a 3/3 boost that just stays on the board over and over and over again. So damn good. Make a snake, slide a snake, stairway snake, 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 snake. So good. All right, Magnus Thorson because dropping down and clearing some weenies off the board is a good thing to do. I also have 3 times Hyperborean, a 6/8 overrun that regens 1 on enchantment. I mean, it's a no-brainer here. This is such a damn good card, and I'm almost embarrassed that I've been sleeping on this for so long. I've been putting this card into decks that I play, but I was like not convinced by it yet, but damn is it so good. This is such a damn good card. All right, 1 Clay Effigy because I only have 1 Clay Effigy, and not that it's a bad card or a good card. I think it's a pretty good card, but Clay Effigy certainly helps. Not to mention slamming down a Clay Effigy on a Giant Stairway gives you some extra value too. 3 times Yahui. Yahui is a workhorse early on in the game. Trades favorably, is really, really good on a Stairway. It's like impenetrable. It's so damn good. The Miso Libre, one of the best arts in the entire game. Fight me on that. Miso Libre 3/4 has a good stat line, also jams down and stuns your opponent. So it buys you time and allows you to sort of maneuver and do what you need to do in order to, buy yourself a turn in the face of an ugly threat. 3 times Serpent Den. Here's the big news about this. Serpent Den is really good, and I've heard arguments about why this card should be rare, But this thing pumping out a creature at the top of your turn every single turn is really damn good, especially when you're slamming these and sliding them over onto your enchantments to get extra value off of them. Not to mention you're going to be buffing them with Alama Rings and Singing Stones, so they're going to, if you get everything out, if you get the 2 Alama Rings and the 2 Singing Stones, now I know that's a big ask, but you can bust these bad boys out for 4/4s or 5/5s every turn. And it's happened before where I've had a board state where every beginning of the turn, I'd create 3 4/4s on the board. That's unheard of. That is so good. It's just 12 points of stats of attack and body every turn for free. So Serpent Den, really good. Splicing Lab, because you slam one of these down next to a Serpent Trap, you just slide the bad boy over, and suddenly it just builds and builds and builds, and it's kind of like an armory where, you know, it's an assembly line. You make your snake, you slide your snake, you attack with your snake. It's a good life. All right, Goliath's Web. I only have one of these. I would play 2. I don't want to craft a second one because it's not hyper important, but it's really good for slamming down and slowing down the game. You put a Serpent's Nest next to this, and you're constantly creating a snake with Deadly into that nest, meaning that something's going to die trying to punch through your snakes. 2 Obama Rings, the Barack Biscuits. These are really good just in general. These can be cycled early if necessary. They're not like they're not like, you know, make or break, but they're damn good. I have the one oh shit button, which is Misanthropia. Great card to just clean the board out really well. Busts through warded and such to really, you know, deal with an ugly board, especially since you're going to be generating a lot of your creatures off of your Serpent Traps or your Serpent Dens. Then Blight is meaningless, more or less, on your side, because your value comes with over generating creatures. 2 Harvesters, gain life, draw a card, can't go wrong. I've got Twin Blank and Sapo. Sapo's so good, especially when he's eating little dudes like your snakes. So if you can set it up perfectly, fine. You're eating across the board and to both sides. You're making a 12/12 warded for 7. Now, obviously, that's a perfect world, but typically as an instant response to killing something, Sapo is a beast. You can come down, eat whatever's across the board, and sit and stare down whatever the threat is. Really, really good card. If you're a yellow player who likes to play yellow control or, you know, wants something big, Sapo is probably a must craft for people wanting to go down the yellow route. All right, so how does this deck work? Well, against aggro, it's going to be a matter of just making sure that you are playing to mitigate damage as much as possible. Even if the trades are not all that happy for you, you want to be able to make sure that you can keep your life total in a respectable place wherein everything you're eventually going to play is going to have some value. Obviously, Magnus and Thunderclap will buy you some time, but in a control matchup, this game is pretty good. Really, Overrun is probably one of the biggest and scariest things that you'll have to deal with, but as you progress in the game, you're going to be putting down your Yahuis. Your Yahuis are going to be trading favorably and causing some grief for your opponent, giving them something hard to bust through. It's going to take 2 trades for Yahui to go down. Similar to the Miso Libre. Miso Libre is going to lock down your opponent's creatures and allow you to decide how you want to deal with them later. If there's a big boy on the board, slam a Miso and then make a trade later on with something a little bit more favorable. Cards like Maelstrom can go down to make a few lanes uncomfortable for your opponent. But basically, you want to make sure that you're playing creatures and stuff on the board like Yahui and Miso Libre to make sure your opponent is having trouble navigating to face, so to speak. You don't want to give him an instant go-to. You don't want to make sure that you don't want him to just jump in and make it happen right off the bat. You want to give him a tricky lane, a trek to your face, as treacherous as possible. Then Magnus comes down, Thunderclap comes down, deals damage. You should be okay in that regard. And then whenever you can find a good spot, you slam down your Serpent's Den. You want your Serpent's Den to be next to either Splicing Lab. You want these to be essentially paired up with another enchantment, be it Giant Stairway. So create a snake, use your Impel ability to move it over. Now it's sitting on a stairway. Beautiful. Put it on a Splicing Lab. Start building up, a whole bunch of keywords on that. Slam it next to a spider's web. You know, the spider's web is going to make it deadly, meaning that it's going to be more and more difficult for your opponent to go through. Everything you play is going to see a lot of happiness right off of those enchantments, and not many people are playing. Some people play enchantment hate. You know, 1 or 2 copies of something in order to just get rid of those big enchantments, those rare or mythic enchantments. Nobody's really playing like a deck that's going to go ahead and deal with 5, 6, 7, 8 enchantments. I have played games where I've had 7 enchantments on the board because it's hilarious and it's awesome. And everything that pops out with the singing stones, the Alama rings, etc., you're pumping out massive snakes. Massive snakes. And that's basically it. Again, not tier 1. That's not the point of the deck. The point of the deck is to have some fun. You'll be drawing cards pretty favorably with your path, your Rainbow's Path, because there's, I mean, if we want to count them, with Maelstrom, that's 1, 2, I've got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. You've got 11. Is that it? Yeah, you've got 11 beautiful and delicious enchantments. What else can you put into here? Living Mountains, an okay spot. You can throw down all kinds of nonsense and wackiness, but the whole point of this is you want to make sure that every turn you've got dudes on the board. You want to spread them out, move your snakes out, create a nice wide board, make it really tough for your opponent to find seams to attack you, and then poke away and poke away and poke away, and eventually you'll be able to maybe slam down a giant stairway on your Hyperborean, bust through, feels good, and that's the way it goes. Feel free to play with this deck. Do some funky stuff with it, friends. Honestly, I just throw out ideas, and what sticks sticks. They don't. Have fun with it. If you like what you see, if you like me, thank you. That's very kind of you. I stream on Twitch every day, Monday to Friday. Usually starts at around 9:30, 10 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time, sometimes in the evenings. But check out the channel, twitch.tv/watchflake. Check the Twitter account @watchflake. And all that jam. Please hit the subscribe button, hit the follow button, and leave your comments. I'd love to hear what you guys have to think about it. I read them all, and I comment and reply to as many as I can. So be kind to one another. Again, thank you so much for checking out the channel. Hope you guys dig Mythgard, and I will talk to you very soon. Adios.